Hey guys, my name is Oliver, and in this video I'm going to cover what I call the organic hybrid strategy. And this is basically a combination of the organic assets that any business usually will have, and then combining it with some advertising to basically accelerate the whole process. So very briefly, let me tell you a bit more about what it is. I have a flowchart here that we will go through also. So what is organic hybrid? Well, organic hybrid is basically just combining your already existing earned audience with highly targeted push advertising, feedbacking to your seed audience, which results in warm audiences with increased lifetime value, so you can keep selling to them over and over. This is very similar to the strategy that you would see in something like crowdfunding, if you're familiar with that. Basically, what they do is, to keep it very, very simple, is just combining or collecting a lot of emails, a lot of phone numbers, however you choose to execute it, prior to actually launching that campaign. So the problem that I've seen here is that a lot of business owners, regardless of the specific niche that they're in, they very often spend tons of resources on pointless advertising. And well, maybe not pointless advertising, but you see a lot who have a web shop, they've set it up, they've been trying some Google, they've been trying some Facebook, they've been doing a bit of email, they haven't done anything 100%, and they expect that if we just turn up the knob on the resources here, well, then it's gonna rain money, right? Well, if you do it well, that is true in a sense, but you can get a whole lot more out of it, where these people will actually be able to come back and you'll be able to actually communicate to them over and over without spending extra resources. So this is something that you can do now that will benefit you down the road, but it won't cost you more to do it now. We'll get into it. So basically, this results in sending traffic to a weak offer without any prior market validation, hype, or other type of priming of the end market. They will then, the business owner, wonder why their new limited collection isn't sold out like if it was a new Apple release. And speaking of Apple, why do you think that almost always, before they actually have a new release, some information is leaked on it? You know, there is created a bit of hype on the internet. And when they announce that they're going to release something, this is still before anyone can actually buy it. It's not a coincidence. It's very, very, very calculated. And this is essentially how they are able to create people intense, literally waiting for days just to get into the store and get the new product, which will probably be selling like for a year after that. But it still creates a lot of attention so that people are willing to wait for it. Now let's get back to the flowchart here. So basically what this is you have your organic channel. This could be a Facebook, it could be Instagram, it could be a LinkedIn, it could be your Pinterest, it could be any other place where you can collect organic engagement that you use to communicate with your earned audience, basically. What we then want to do is we want to go down and we want to create a high engagement content offer. Basically, we want to create something that makes a lot of engagement. Now, this could be, I write here, special offers. It could be giveaways. It could be just general gossip, so like leaks, as my Apple example there. What is going to work the best is probably giveaways. It's what you've likely seen one before. These typical Instagram or Facebook giveaways that people use to collect followers and engagement and all of that. It's kind of a similar thing that we will be doing, except you're going to actually leverage this much, much, much more, because there is a lot of untapped potential in doing so. So you've created a giveaway. Maybe you give away $1,000 for your store or whatever. And in this giveaway, you have a link. You also have a link in your bio, in your biography, which goes to a pre-release page. Now, this is the page that people will see before they're actually able to buy anything. So you could do this multiple ways. You could have an entire landing page with just one sign-up button that they actually type in their email and their phone number in order to get access to this content. Or you could simply have your collection out and actually show, let's say you were a fashion store, you actually show your entire collection, but instead of being able to go ahead and purchase it, you go into the product, you click add to cart, you go to the purchase, blah, blah, blah. Then instead of add to cart, or instead of initiate checkout or whatever, wherever you choose to do it, you could make it so that you get a pop-up where people can then type in their email and their phone number instead. But anyway, send them to a pre-release page, and this is where you're going to collect their email and their phone number. So basically a lead magnet here. Now this release page, it should emphasize that you have a limited quantity. It should have some kind of counter. So basically, we just want to create this fear of missing out. We want everyone who engaged with this and moved onto a page, we want them to feel that if they don't sign up now, they might be missing out on something huge. Because this is actually the value that we are collecting this here and up here. So here you're going to get a lot of data that you can use within, for instance, if you use Facebook, you can use it within Facebook. If you use LinkedIn, you can use it within LinkedIn. And the reason why we do this on the page itself is as soon as you send someone off to your own website, well then, we're going to have pixel tracking issues, people will have privacy measures, all this. So we're basically going to lose a large percentage of data. Now, of course, there are a lot of things you can do to prevent this, but ultimately, you're not going to track 100% like you will be able to if you actually keep it on the platform. So we want to collect data here, and then we want to send them to the pre-release webpage, where we then collect email and phone number. Now, when people have landed here, you could take any step in this sequence and basically use it as a retargeting audience as well. But I won't recommend doing something like this when you can see here, I recommend doing this for maybe 5 to 7 days, again, depending on how long your purchase decision is for your customers usually. But if it was very long, you could essentially run some retargeting to it as well. You would have a retargeting feed here, or you could create one here or one here, whatever it might be. You could also make a lookalike and run traffic directly to the page as well. But I don't personally think that would be very effective for you. But it's something that you could test out. Anyway, let's move down. So basically, this runs over and over for a couple of days, let's say a week. And now you've created huge engagement, which means that you have gotten a lot more followers, you have gotten a lot more likes and comments, overall engagement on your page, which is going to give you a much better organic ranking. So even if the rest of this doesn't work out, you will still have gotten significantly more reach on your organic channels, and you're going to have a lot more earned media. So now we hit the release day. You press release. When people go into the page, they're actually able to buy something, right? These are the assets that you will have collected. So you will have an email list now because we collected the emails up here. You will have an SMS list because you have the phone collected. You will have a retargeting audience that you can pull from this section here, or this section here, or this section here. You can pull a retargeting audience from anywhere. But in this case, I would recommend to only pull retargeting on the people who actually visited this page here. The page here. And the reason is we want to only spend resources advertising to the people that are the most relevant and that already made some kind of micro commitment. So if they gave their email and the phone number, that is a micro commitment. It could have been a very small payment as well. You could do that instead. You could make a VIP list so that they pay 5% of the product price, and then they're sure to actually get one when you release it, something like that, if you want to make it more exclusive. And basically you can also do a cold lookalike on this, send traffic to the live page where they will be able to actually go in and purchase. And then you'll have two options. Option number one is either they purchase, success, yay. Or option number two, they don't purchase. They say, no, we don't want this, or we don't see it, or we forgot it, or whatever. This allows you to split your audience basically, or to separate it. So you could now have this compiled email list. Let's say you have 5,000 emails, you have 5,000 phone numbers. well, then you can split it up in those who actually ended up buying, which is you could say your most relevant audience, or there is proof that this actually works in the end. And then you have your other audience that didn't purchase. But what you can utilize all of this to is next time you release something, you now have 5,000 emails. You now have 5,000 new phone numbers that you can utilize and leverage. You can create lookalike lists off of it. You can create retargeting audience off of it. You can send direct emails to them. You can send SMS to them. You can call them if you want to call them. You can do so many things because now you have this information, right? Now you have this way of reaching your ideal customers. Whereas if you only ran advertising to your page, well, then, you would hope that they signed up for a newsletter, which is, by the way, way less attractive than because what we're doing here, this is essentially, you could have done a newsletter sign up as well. But listen, no one wants your newsletters. No one wants to receive offer. Well, maybe a few people do, but if you go in and look at the percentage who actually sign up in your email newsletters, if you have a pop-up saying sign up for a newsletter and it's not pre-checked, that will be a very, very small percentage. I'm willing to bet it's a very small percentage. But when you do it like this, you give people an offer, you give them an opportunity, right? You're not asking them to do anything for you. You're giving them an opportunity. And because you give them an opportunity, they're much more likely to actually sign up because they are afraid of missing out on this great opportunity. And then you have the same information, you have all of this good information, you can even pull more from them, and they are much more eager to buy because you have hyped it prior to releasing anything. Now, what is this good for, and when should you use this? Well, every time you release a new flagship product, or every time you release a new product, you could even test that. You don't want to saturate it too much. I haven't heard of anyone who did this too much so that it didn't work, but I'm pretty sure that if it's not something you should do every day, obviously, because then you take the hype out of the equation. And basically, you want to create a lot of tension. You want to create a lot of hype, a lot of energy around this. That's the purpose of it. So as long as you can do that, then you can, repeat it as many times as you want. It could be anytime you add a new collection, and it could be when you do special offers. A close example could be, now it's a few days since we had the Black Friday, but an example could be when you have something like Black Friday, where you do this, you send people through, you make a huge offer, however that looks, could be a discount, it could be limited quantity, but only to the people who sign up through this. And for example, fashion brands releasing new collections, anything like that. And what is this used to? Well, first of all, it creates excitement, like we've gone through. It pre-validates your products before you actually get them from your suppliers. So depending, of course, on your shipping times and everything, and now we have this virus going on, so it takes a lot more time to get things shipped across the world. So it depends on where you're located, but you can basically pre-validate your products and you can figure out how much quantity you will need before you actually place the order, which means that you're going to decrease your passive stock. So you're not going to have as much stock lying around and just taking up space and not being sold. Which means that you can also focus your marketing much, much better, because instead of focusing a bit on this old thing you have lying around, and then you have this new thing, and then you have this, instead of having all of these different focuses, you can basically make one focus, freaking fire it, pour gasoline on the fire, right? Now there is nothing left. You move to the next. This allows you to have a very lean business. You can measure the demand, which also goes with the decreasing of the passive stock. And of course, this will significantly increase your sales as well. But what I would like you to pay attention to is actually this one here, which I personally think is the most important one, because this is not something you do once. This is a way that you choose to build basically your long-term strategy as well. This is something that you can take out as a tactic in your long-term strategy, because it helps you to massively build your audience. You will create so many leads with this that you can sell to over and over and over. And imagine every time you send an email, of course, depending on the system you use, it costs you next to nothing, and you reach people directly rather than just advertising to the same market as 2 million other competitors do, and then you basically just figure out who wishes to pay the most for your placement, right? It's much more efficient to just do this once, to pay for the advertising once, collect a lot of emails, and then basically contact those emails and then repeat it, because otherwise you're just going to, I hope it makes sense. One thing you want to think about, of course, is the supplier and manufacturer's delivery time, because you don't want to be in a situation where you have, let's say you have 10,000 people signed up for this. They're ready to buy. Realistically, maybe let's say 8,000 of them actually goes on and purchases, depending on how well you've made this funnel. And then you have supplier issues. We don't want that. So check up on this before you choose to do anything like this. Now, an extra thing that I'm thinking about here is when you have collected all of these emails, I won't go into too much detail today, but basically you can use this email list. You have the email list here. And then when you release something new, you make a new release, well, then you can make another email announcement with the new release to people who already engaged with your past release, which means that, they're into what you're selling. They're excited about these things. So you create hype, send them to the new release, you send them to the offer page, blah, blah, blah. So you can basically reverse this whole model as well and use it that way. I hope this was valuable. I hope whoever is watching this got something out of it. And please let me know, put a comment wherever I throw this, and let me know if this was valuable to you. Let me know if you have any input to it, something that you suggest might be improved or might be tested. I'll be happy to pass this on and to test it out for you, where we make an example, set it up, record it all, so you can basically see it all, the inner workings, and then of course test it out for yourself. If anyone wants these documents here, just let me know. I'll be happy to send them to them. And other than that, I wish you all a amazing day, and hope to get some feedback. Bye.